What's up, everybody? It's Josh Preston, the guy behind all the videos that y'all been checking out for these last 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. Really long overdue for something like this. I actually have made 2 podcasts already, but for both of those, I kind of wanted to do some editing and drop some videos in and do some other stuff, and just got caught up with having so much other stuff to do, didn't really get a chance to finish them. So for this one, I really want to try to keep it kind of short and sweet. Plus, I got to get out of here pretty soon to go to another game, well, hopefully 2 games. I'm planning to hit Chappelle and St. Joseph's. It's the girls' playoffs. It's the quarterfinals. Both, so it'll be the first game for both of them. I'll kind of get into that in a second. But and then right after that, I'm gonna try to shoot over to UNO and catch UNO in Southeast, and hopefully I'll get at least the second half. But anyway, for this first one, probably just gonna go with something simple called this Preston's podcast, and I'll just kind of touch on the playoffs because obviously we got that going on right now. And mostly this podcast will be about high school stuff, and I'm going to touch on some NFL, NBA stuff, Pelicans, Saints, that whole deal. And I guess just whatever else I kind of feel like talking about since it's my podcast and I can do what I want. But like I said, for this one, we'll just kind of start with the playoffs. The girls' playoffs are already underway. Those have been going on for about a week now. And we're getting into a quarterfinal round. A lot of teams are about to get started with that. And the boys' playoffs, they're about to start tomorrow, Thursday. They may even have a few teams playing today. But I'll start with the girls' playoffs. And we'll just kind of go through this mess of a situation we have, to be honest, with 12 brackets and a state as small as Louisiana. It's really ridiculous. I tweeted it out on a couple of days ago. And I mean, the principals and the ADs, I don't understand how you look at this bracket and look at some of these brackets and go like, yeah, that's great. That's exactly what we want for the kids. Like that's terrible. We got, like I said, I'm gonna run through it. I'm gonna start with 5A. Most of really the select brackets, they're not affected as much because you still have a full, group of 32 teams. But what happens is in this first round, you'll see a lot of blowouts. It's gonna be ugly, and it's not great. It's not great basketball. The second round, you might get a few more competitive games, but it'll still be fairly non-competitive. But like I said, we'll start with 5A. We got a number 1 seed, Sam Houston, and B. Higgins. I don't really want to run through every single matchup, but Ponchatoula beat Landry Walker. Those are a couple local teams. That was 49-32. As I'm kind of scrolling through, I see looks like about 5 or 6 that were single-digit games. A couple of our other teams, East St. John, they lost. We really don't have a whole lot of teams left. With the quarterfinals for girls, it's Captain Shreve and Sam Houston. There is one quarterfinal matchup: East Ascension and LaGrange, Washington and Denham Springs, and then Natchitoches and Walker. Walker has Tiara Young, who's an LSU signee. I actually have one of her games up against Kipper, Booker T. Washington, so y'all can check that out. But that's really about it for 5A. 4A, we've got Benton and South Lafourche, Ellender and South Terrebonne, Menden and DeRitter, and Neville and Easton. So Easton's really, I want to say Easton might be our only team left in the select field or non-select field. They've been playing really well. I was actually at that game the other night when they played Cecilia. They beat up on them pretty good. It was 82-49. Looks like the biggest margin of victory in that second round. We do have one close game, which was 64-58 South Lafourche over Salmon. But the others, like I said, not great. South Terrebonne, Opelousas. South Terrebonne won 35-27. But like I said, Easton, they've been playing really well. Like Cecilia, they were a decent little team. They had a couple girls that could play. Easton is really just playing on another level right now. I think they got 3 or 4 really good seniors. Cabria Lewis, who some schools should really, look into her and start just kind of evaluating her and seeing how she can fit, in a lot of y'all programs because she's a really good passer and she's just a leader. She's a really good kid. She always plays hard, always 100%. I've seen her, for 3-4 years now, and there's never a time on the court when she's just kind of coasting or, just taking it easy. Cabria Lewis, so that's Cabria Lewis. Casey Harris is another senior that they have. And they don't even have Kiana Anderson, who tore ACL, another really good kid, super solid. She's signed to Little Rock. So she'll get a chance to keep playing. But I really like that team. They shoot it pretty well. Coach Mel's one of my favorite coaches to watch and talk to. He really encourages them to play basketball. Don't you're not passing it around the perimeter and wait. We gonna move the ball obviously, but don't be scared to put up a shot. You open, shoot the ball. So again, they're one of our last select teams left. And 3A, let's see. 3A, Laranja still is the top seed. They'll play Madison, who got an upset over Iota. They beat Madison was the 24th seed. They beat Iota 46-36. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure Laranja, I haven't seen them this year or didn't see much of them last year, but they were one of my teams when I was in Hammond with the Daily Star, and I know they got Jemiah Young, who's a Mississippi State signee, and again, one of the best players in the state easily. A lot of fun to watch. Another kid that's just a high-level competitor. She gets after it. So I think I would be surprised if they don't make it all the way to the championship. Pretty sure they won it last year too, so which is really good for them because she tore her ACL her freshman year and her sophomore year, right before the playoffs. One of them was actually in the playoffs. They were up 20 points or somebody. I can't even remember who they were playing at this point, but they were up 20. Ended up losing by 1 or 2. It was one of the most heartbreaking things I ever saw. But other teams in 3A, Albany and Caldwell Parish, South Beauregard and Northwest, and Madison Prep and Donaldsonville. Kind of move on to 2A. Like I said, I really do need to get out of here fairly soon. Doyle and Rayville in 2A. That's the 1-8 matchup. Lake Arthur and Mansfield, Rapides and Red River, and North Cato in the meet. North Cato has Destiny Rice. She's a kind of a point guard. She's a senior now, Alabama signee. She's a baller. I remember seeing her probably 2-3 years ago in AAU, and she can go, good shooter. She played with the Lady Flames this past summer and saw a little bit of it with her there too. And just in that setting, she wasn't as much of a scorer. She really looked to kind of get everybody involved. So you can kind of see that there's really levels to her game and layers to her game. But with North Cato, she's aggressive. I mean, she does a lot of scoring for them, at least the last couple of times I've seen them. But so that's a team you could probably look out for that for sure. Doyle, they always just got a strong team, but I haven't seen them lately. Not sure who they have. 1A's East Iberville and Haynesville. That's the 1-9 matchup. Jonesboro Hodge beat the number 5 seed North Central. Jonesboro Hodge will play Delhi. These are all quarterfinal matchups. Elton is playing Tensas. And this is 1A. And last matchup is Kip Booker T. Washington and West St. John. This is the game I'll be at. I know a good bit about Kip. I've seen them probably three, four times just this year, and a few times last year too. They're still a pretty young team. They got 2 juniors that are big parts of what they do. Renee Tumblin and Cassie Dolio. If you type them in on YouTube, you'll be able to find highlights on both of them. Just really both of them. They play really hard. Renee's more of the scorer. Cassie rebounds a lot, gets a lot of putbacks, that type of thing. They had another kid who I saw for the first time, the last time I saw him, and her name is escaping me right now. But she apparently has a little bit of a heart condition, so she kind of had to go out and didn't see it. I want to say her last name is Spears. I have to check. But anyway, that should be an interesting matchup. Kip was a 2 seed. They've been playing really well these last few weeks, or really the whole season. So interested to see them. Glad they'll get a chance to get a little pub on NOLA. And Class B and C, I'll just run through them. Stanley and Zwol is the 1-9. Hicks and Florine is the 5-4. Fairview and Holden is the 3-6. And Anacoco, I don't even know how to say that, I'm going to be honest. And Hathaway is the 2-10. So that's Class B. Class C is Plainview and Harrisonburg. Singer and Barb, or E-Barb. Starks is the 14 seed playing the 6 Reeves, Gibbsland, Coleman, in Atlanta. There are 18, 22 teams in this bracket. So, okay, that is what it is. And now we get to the schools that are really getting messed over here, which is the select brackets. This is just, like I said, this is a mess. We've got 8 teams in this bracket in Division 1. Curtis and Evangel already played. Are you ready for this score? Mind you, Evangel is 0-19. Well, now they're 0-20. But they're 0-20, or they were 0-19 and they made the playoffs. Not just made the playoffs, they're in the quarterfinals. The score was 84-24. So there's that. And Curtis is your 1 seed. I expect them to run through this bracket. They're still really, they're still pretty young. They got a lot of young kids that they have to play right now because they lost 4 or 5 kids from last year's team that are all on college rosters somewhere. The best of them is probably Donna Jones. He's at Tulane, been playing really well there. Deja Versal's at Xavier, and they got a couple others too. So, but that was the 1-8 matchup, Curtis and Evangel. Like I said earlier, I'll be at the 4-5, Chappelle and St. Joseph's. And then the 3 is Mount Carmel and Scotlandville. That's the 3-6. Mount Carmel's the 3. And Dominican and Bird is the 2-7. So, like I said, this is mostly a rematch of, Catholic League games. Mount Carmel did beat Curtis early this season. They beat him 45-44. And then a couple weeks later, I was at this game. Curtis won. I think it was 48-34, something like that. So they handled them pretty good. That first game they played was one of the first games they played without Salma Bates. She's a Tulane signee, a guard, and she had injured her ankle in the Sugar Bowl tournament. I was also at that game when she hurt her ankle against Easton, and she missed a good 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. And that first one was one of those games. And she didn't play the second time they played, and they did fine. But she is back now. Her first game back was against Cabrini. I was also at that game, and she looked pretty good. You could tell she was a little rusty. I don't think she made any of her jumpers, but she had a couple moves that kind of got the crowd so. She looked like she's gonna be just fine. Obviously, Jacayla Jordan, one of the top players in the state, class of 2020, got a few videos out of her too, so y'all can check those out. Division 2. This is the only one that looks something like a bracket in the select brackets. We got 22 teams in this one. Here's a score from the 11-22 matchup. St. Michael the Archangel beat Sacred Heart 57-7. We have another 44-17. That's Vanderbilt over Lusher. 16-17 was close, 47-41, Hannon over St. Scholastica. And then Hannon got beat 91-27 in the second round against the top seed Lee Magnet. So you can kind of see how these are playing out. Ursuline 70-23 over St. Charles. That's a second round game. Another second round game, U-High over Parkview Baptist 86-28. Loyola Prep 53-41 over St. Michael. Cabrini beat Haynes 52-35. The last second round matchup is number 2 St. Louis over De La Salle 100-27. These are playoff scores. So your last 8 teams in this is Division 2. Lee Magnet is the top seed. I want to say they're a pretty new school. I remember them having two really big girls. I think they were both like 6'5", 6'6", but I haven't seen them. I want to say this school is in Baton Rouge, but I'm not sure. They play the 8 seed St. Thomas More. Terrellins plays Ursuline. That's the 4-5. U High plays Loyola Prep is the 3-6, and St. Louis and Cabrini is the 2-7. Division 3, St. Thomas Aquinas is the top seed. This bracket has 15 teams. This bracket has 15 teams. I guess that's better than the last one. Score is not quite as bad in here. We've got a 50-38, a 48-29. Ooh, a 40-36. That's the 4 against the 13 seed. That's a Episcopal over Notre Dame. St. Catherine beat Riverside 52-45. That was a 3-14 matchup. And McGee beat Newman 49-41. St. Mary's. Oh, okay, nice one for St. Mary's. They beat Catholic NI New Iberia 45-35. North Lake Christian is the only ugly one. That's against the 15 seed, which is the last team to get in. That was 61-14. So the last 8 teams we have left in Division 3, like I said, top seed St. Thomas Aquinas against number 9 Dunham. Episcopal is the 4 against Country Day, the 5. St. Catherine Drexel against McGee. That's a 3-6 matchup. And North Lake Christian and St. Mary's. Division 4, we have 22 teams in Division 4. Let's see, none of these. Yeah, we got a good number of blowouts in here. 72-52, 56-29. Those are first round scores. We got an 85-28 Lafayette over St. Edmund. That's the 116. Close one, 8-9, 54-53, Central Catholic over Highland. Anyway, kind of run through these. Again, not a lot of teams in our area that are still alive. St. Martin's Episcopal they beat Opelousas Catholic 32-28. They're the 10 seed. They'll play a Homer Christian, who's the 2 seed in the quarterfinals. Vermilion Catholic and St. Mary's, Ouachita Christian and Cedar Creek, and Lafayette Christian against Central Catholic. Those are your Division 4 matchups. Division 5 is a dumpster fire. Sorry. No disrespect to the teams in here. Congrats to y'all making it, I guess. There are 6 teams in this bracket. Please, for the love of God, please at least combine Division 4 and 5. Please. Like I said, there's 6 teams in it. There's 6 teams and 2 teams automatically advance to the semifinals, not the semis. So you win 2 games and you're a state champion. I mean, okay. They played 1 game so far. That was the 3-6 Family Christian beat St. Joseph's Placerville. How do you say that? 67-33. The other matchup in here is Grace Christian versus Christ Episcopal. So the other 2 teams, Claiborne Christian and Family Community, they're just chilling until, I don't even know when this round starts. I guess maybe quarterfinals of this. So I guess sometime next week, early next week. And that'll do it for the girls' side. So like I said, it looks like just Easton is really our only non-select team that's alive, and I think they got a pretty good chance to repeat. They won it last year, so definitely be on the lookout for them. I'll run over to the boys' side real quick. Class 5A, Thibodaux is your top seed. They'll play Terrebonne. Those 2 are district rivals, so I mean it's the 132, so I don't expect it to get too close. I haven't checked to see what the other scores were, but Thibodaux is a really, really solid team. I saw them a good bit for the St. Aug tournament, and they beat some really good teams in that run. East Ascension was one of them, and they beat a couple other teams. They ended up losing to St. Aug in the championship, and St. Aug put it on them pretty good that game. They just came out and, like, when St. Aug's shooting the ball well, it's gonna be hard to beat them because they one of the probably the best defensive team that I've seen this year. So when they're really locked in, I think lately they've been just kind of seems like they got a little bit of a malaise. Plus they've been playing some teams that aren't quite as good, in the Catholic League. So I think I think once the playoffs come, though, they'll really get turned on. And other matchups, like I said, this game, the boys' playoffs start tomorrow, so these are all first round matchups in 5A. Hanville has to go to Lafayette. Just kind of touch on the local teams. Ponchatoula is the 5 seed. I wish I would have had a chance to see them this year. Destrehan goes to LaGrange. Destrehan's the 21 seed. West Jeff goes to St. Amant. West Jeff is the 20. Bonneville plays Hammond. Bonneville's the 4 seed. I'm really hoping that they'll make a run. I think they really got the pieces to be at least a Final Four team. Rodney Munson, big time player, fastest dude in the state for my money in the end. Good shooter. Last time I saw him, he went 4 for 4 from three. His shot's a little unorthodox. It's kind of from the side, but he's pretty accurate with it. He can get to the rim. Good passer. I mean, and when he really wants to be, he can be a really good defender too. So I know he's gotten some interest from a few. I'm not sure. I think they might be D2 schools. I think he's kind of like a borderline D1 D2 guy. So some coaches should definitely be looking out for him. Walker is the 3 seed. Obviously, they're the defending champs. They play HL Bourgeois. Walker, I've seen a good bit this time. This year. Jalen Cook is incredible. For my money, he's the best player in the state, regardless of class. Just prolific scorer, off the dribble, can't stay in front of him, great vision as a passer, and he will play defense. Like I've seen him go against Greg Hammond at right, and he really holds his ground. Like Greg has a good bit of size on him, but Jalen is stocky, and he's pretty built, for a guy his size. So it's hard to move him. It's hard to get him off his spot, and he's intense, like when he really wants to guard. So, like I said, best prospect I think in the state, regardless of class. The thing about Walker though is I was kind of expecting him to make another run this year, but really, it's really just Jalen Cook and Brian Thomas, and I don't know if they have those other guys will really have to kind of step up and show a little bit more. Trent Montgomery, he's a senior. He's got some good athleticism, but they just got to get more from other guys. I think their best win was probably against Scotlandville, and honestly, I was shocked to see that. But because Scotlandville, they got at least 4, really, really good players. So, but kind of get to them later. Slidell is the 14 against Live Oak. I like them a lot too. I guess if I had a dark horse, they might be it, but they're going to run into Walker in that 3rd round. But I would say Slidell's a deeper team than Walker for sure. But I just don't think Jalen Cook is going to be out that early in the playoffs. I just can't see that. So, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked to see Slidell get that win. New Iberia and Barb, that's the 11-22. Landry Walker plays Pineville to open up the season. Landry Walker obviously was a runner-up last year against Walker. And they could meet again in the quarterfinals if both of them keep winning. I don't think, I'll see Landry for sure at least getting to the quarters here. They've been, I don't think they're quite as good as last year just because they lost their 2 big guys. Samaj Matthews and Brashawn Delpit, but their guards are all seniors now. Shadine Green is super, super tough. Just super high IQ kid, not the biggest kid. Obviously, he's probably like 5'8", but he can shoot the ball. He can get to the rim. Like gritty defender, he'll get into you, and I just like his mentality as a player. Same thing with DeJuan Griffin. He's a UTSA football signee as a wide receiver after only playing 1 year. Like, got to be one of the fastest risers in recruitment I've ever seen. Only playing 1 year. And, he had big schools after him. Tennessee, Memphis, Louisiana Tech. I want to say that those were his other three with UTSA, and I think he made a really good choice uh, going to UTSA. Um, me and one of my writer guys, we were just kind of talking before he signed, and we started talking it out. And somebody asked me early in the day when I was somewhere else where I thought he might go, and I was like, I really don't know, maybe Memphis, or I don't know, maybe Tennessee. But when me and this other guy started talking about Quentin being to me, by matter of fact, but we just kind of talked it out, and UTSA just made a lot of sense because really I think what a lot of kids should be looking for is not the big name or I went SEC or whatever the case is. Go somewhere where you can play and go somewhere where they really care about your progression and what you'll be able to do, because it's great if you go to a SEC school or whatever the case is, but if you're not playing, then you don't have any film. And if you have any aspirations at all to, try and get to the next level, whether that be, I mean, it could just be maybe you get a practice squad spot on the NFL team, whatever. But if you don't have film, that's it. That's the end of the line. And nobody wants to sit on the bench and just chill. And I mean, it's great to be whatever team you're on, you need to play your role and, do whatever you can to make the team better. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to play. Like, I mean, I think that's an obvious statement. So I get it. And like I said, I think he made a great choice. UTSA, that really a team on the come up. Frank Wilson has got his hands all over this area as far as recruiting. He got Sticks last year from Easton, who's another wide receiver. So I think DeJuan can go there and maybe get some PT in his first couple years. So just kind of rounding out 5A. We got any other. East Ascension is the 10 seed against Denham Springs. I really, really like East Ascension. Hobart Grayson is a baller. About 6'4". He's a guard, was shooting the lights out for the St. Aug tournament. Can get up, play above the rim, all that good stuff. Strong kid, finish through contact. Like him a lot. Covington is 15. Haven't seen them this year, but Reggie Gauze is a knockdown shooter. They play with West Monroe, who's an 18. And Washington Parish is the 2 seed. They play Airline. If I had a prediction for this bracket, just kind of looking over it, I mean, Thibodeau's the 1 seed. I would go Thibodeau and Bonneville. I mean, that's pretty much chalk, really. Thibodeau and Bonneville for that semifinal matchup on that side. And I'm gonna go Landry Walker in this top half of the bracket. And some of these other teams I haven't seen a whole lot. Washington Parish, I mean, they're the 2 seed, but I could see East Ascension getting all the way to. They would meet in the quarters, so it just kind of depends how those two kind of match up. But I would say Washington and East Ascension at least to the quarters, and then could be Washington and Landry Walker, or Landry Walker and East Ascension. So I don't know. I kind of would like East Ascension to come out of there. And again, I haven't seen Washington Parish, so I can't really speak much to them. But I could see East Ascension. East Ascension would probably be like a dark horse in this bracket. They did lose their coach kind of mid-season, but I think their assistant was there a little while, and he kind of kept things the same and moving in the right direction. So 4A, we got Bossier as the top seed. They're year in and year out. They got a squad. I know a couple of the kids. Dante Bell, big time player. They got another guard, something with a Z. Zavian. Actually, that's X, but Zavian Beasley, I want to say. Real tough guard today. So, number 1 seed, I can see them getting all the way to the title game. They're legit one seed. Easton is in. They've got to go on the road. They're the 17. They play Morgan City. McMain is the 24 seed. I'm going to let you know now, like, they are a super dangerous 24 seed. And in these next 2-3 years, you're going to see McMain in at least a quarterfinal game. Because They got a ton of young talent. Alex Hammond is going to be a big time prospect. I just saw them play Crescent City, and he was going back and forth with Byron as far as making some really big shots. Um, he's a kid that like stays at the rim, super quick off the dribble, like a little bit deceptive, but he just knows how to get by people. Like I said, McMahon's the 24. They play Franklin Paris, who's the 9. And I want to pick them as kind of a dark horse team, but they still so young. They really only have 2 seniors that play big minutes for them. So I think they might be a year or 2 away, but definitely watch out for them. Lakeshore is the 8. They play Woodlawn, Baton Rouge. Hunter Dean's obviously the big kid in the middle for them. Let's see, Karen Crow and Pearl River. Karen Crow is the defending champ in this bracket. We don't have too many 3A teams, or this is 4A, excuse me. We got a Salmon and Carr is the 1023. Carr has been super up and down this season. They got a couple of pretty good wins. I think they recently lost to Riverside by 2, I think. But I mean, they've had some really like big losses, and honestly, I was a little surprised because they have some talent. I mean, Renard Shields and DeAndre Hughes are two kids that are pretty good, but just hasn't really come together for them this year. So Salmon, they just a solid team. They really play well together. Jaden Williams, he's a baller. He's a point guard, class of 2020. Definitely a scorer. So I think Salmon's probably pretty safe there. I could easily see Bossier in the championship, so I'll go Bossier in this bracket. Let's see, 3A. Sophie B. Wright. I'm just letting you know now. I'm picking them as the champion. That's the home squad. I've seen them grow for really these last 3 years. I mean, every single year they get a little bit further. They went to quarterfinals, then they get the semis. First they made the playoffs. So I just believe in this group. They got 7 guys, 7 really solid guys, 7, 8 maybe, and 9 that play. So a deep team, high end talent. Gregory Hammond obviously is the Rhode Island signee. DJ Burns is a Southern signee. Charlie Russell, he hasn't gotten quite the interest I would have thought he would. I really think he's kind of at least a borderline D1 talent, if not a definite D1 talent. But just from talking to a couple other college coaches, it seems like they want to see him play against tougher competition. So maybe a prep school route might be what he has to do. But I believe in the kid's talent. I believe in just his heart, the way he plays. 6'7" shooter, can defend. I mean, always blocking a ton of shots. So that kind of is what it is, I guess. 3A, don't have a ton of teams in 3A. Madison Prep is the 4 seed. I would be dead shocked if we don't get Madison Prep and Sophie B. Wright in the semifinals. That's going to be a great game. Those 2 teams have already played twice this year and split those matchups. So we'll see how that shakes out. But that's your top half of the bracket. Doesn't look like we have any other local teams in 3A. So Peabody is the 2 seed. You can go ahead and write them in. Yeah. If our top 4 seeds in this bracket don't make it, I'll be pretty shocked. Wassman is the 3. Haven't seen them, but they're just a great team every single year. So I think it's pretty safe to lock in the top 4 in the semis. And like I said, I'm gonna go right over Madison Prep. That's probably a hometown pick, but that's gonna be a great game for sure. Yeah, I'll go right in Peabody. So that's chalk. That's your 1 and 2 seeds in this one. Rayville and Mangum. Rayville's the top seed. Let's just go ahead and pencil them into the championship. Malik Wilson is a UL signee. Who else we got in this bracket? South Plaquemines is the 17. They play Doyle on the road. So hopefully they can get out. and that would get them a home game for the second game. I might. Okay. ML King is the 13th seed in this bracket. Shout out to them. They've had a really good season. I like their team. Seen them 2 or 3 times. Marquise Warrington, bona fide scorer, bucket getter, 3-point shot off the dribble, can get to the rim, pretty good passer. Some kind of, I think he's probably like D2 NAIA type school. Should definitely be giving him a look. Who else we got? Yeah, that's really about it for this bracket. Like I've been said, I need to be getting out of here fairly soon, so I'm gonna kind of speed this up. Uh, in Class 1A, we got Kip Booker T. Washington, who's the 8th seed. They play Kentwood. That'll be this looks like, and we got West St. John, who's the 22 seed. We got Clark is the 26th. So those are our local teams in this bracket. Kip Booker T. Washington, again, another really, really young team. Real similar to McMain. In like 2 or 3 years, they're going to be in somebody's semifinal or quarterfinal bracket because they're going to move up from 1A, I want to say. So be a little bit tougher for them, but Kyron Ratliff is a 2022 prospect, 6'7" forward, center, super long arms, pretty athletic, and I think he's going to be really good. What's next? Class B. I don't think we have any teams in Class B. Is Phoenix in here? Yeah, I don't think we have any teams in Class B. And just kind of run through that. Class C, Summerfield, they'll contend year in, year out. So yeah, that's about it for those. And now we get to Division 1, which has 9 teams. Oh, my bad. 11. They have 11 teams, so we got 4 matchups in the second round. There is no first round. Scotlandville is your 1 seed. Reese Beekman, I would probably put him at number 2 as far as overall prospects, regardless of class. Just does a little bit of everything. Shooter, he really controls the pace for them. He plays, mostly on the ball, and he makes sure those guys get their shots. He makes sure they get the opportunities. Tyrion Joseph, probably the biggest leap. Like if there's a most improved player award for high school, he gets it. Knockdown shooter now. He's a much better athlete than what I guess maybe I realized in the past. Like I've seen him just get up and just dunk it 2, 3, 4 times just in half-court situations. Like, oh, okay, you like that then. Okay, so those 2 and Carvel Tissette, those are their main 3. Carvel really didn't play a whole lot last year, and so it's really good to see how he just kind of came in and looked super comfortable in his role. And, I mean, he gets up just as many shots as probably Tyrion and Reese. Good shooter from deep, can attack off the dribble, get in the lane, got a couple floaters, that type thing. Jonathan Horton is a 22, and all 4 of these kids are 2020 kids. Horford he's a little undersized for his forward spot, but he is athletic. I've seen him finish a couple alleys, and when he's locked in and playing hard, he can be a real X-Factor type kid for them. Scotlandville will play the winner of Curtis and Bird. That's the 8-9. Catholic BR and Evangel. I'll go ahead and pencil in Catholic BR with that, which means they'll get a rematch with Jesuit, who was the 4 seed. Jesuit actually beat Catholic earlier this year. I was wishing I could have got to that game, but I ended up at Salmon for Kalani Brown's jersey retirement. But that should be a really interesting matchup. I would have picked Catholic, but seeing as Jesuit, does have that 1 win, I probably will go with Catholic here, and that's going to be tough because I don't want to see my guy Elijah Morgan and just that group of seniors. I mean, Jesuit is super, super seasoned. All of their guys are seniors. They're 5 starters, so they're going to be a tough out. Catholic's top 2 players are both juniors, and that's Cotlin Holloway and Kentrell Garnett. Both of them are on my YouTube channel, so you can check them out. Holy Cross is the 3 seed. They'll play the winner of Rumble and Brother Martin, so they should be pretty safe. I mean, granted, Brother Martin that's kind of Brother Martin is kind of surprised in a couple games. They did beat Jesuit, real late in the season, so it looks like they've been getting better. And Holy Cross is famous for getting off the slow starts. They probably got off to maybe 4 or 5 slow starts and then come back. And I mean really slow. Like they're down by like 15, almost 20 points. They were down 19 against Jesuit and came back. Were down 17 or something like that against St. Aug on the road and came back. So just kind of a team you can never count them out, but not a habit that you want to make a living with. St. Aug is the 2 seed, like I mentioned earlier, best defensive team I've probably seen all year. And when their shooters get going, and they got a few of them, it's a problem. Their point guard, they got really good point guard play with Damon Landry and Damari Wilkes. Damon is a senior, Damari is a sophomore. Damari, really big body, just kind of hard to get the ball from him. Good passer. Damon's a great passer, super quick off the dribble, and they both just got an edge, especially Damon. Like they just play with an edge, so I like that group. Dante Smith, one of the best defenders in the state too. So they got a pretty deep team. St. Paul's is 7-10. Or St. Paul's and Shaw, excuse me. St. Paul's and Shaw is the 7-10. And I'll kind of go on to Division 2. U-High is the 1 seed. We got 17 teams in this bracket. Not a lot of local teams. Well, we got a few. De La Salle is the 3 against Turlins. Thomas Jefferson is the 13 against St. Thomas More, who's the 4. Thibodaux and St. Charles is the 5-12. Hannon and Lee is the 8-9. And Lusher is the 6 against St. Michael, who's 11. It's kind of scanning here. I haven't seen U-High this year. I don't know how that happened. Usually they're in a couple tournaments and I'll catch them. But haven't seen them this year. But I would just kind of look. I would probably get them the edge as far as reaching probably the championship game. St. Thomas More, I know they lost Jonathan Cece, who was a really good player for them, but they did have a couple of young players that were coming up. My guess is they probably won't be quite ready to take down U-High. De La Salle, yeah, I think De La Salle's got a really good chance to at least get back to the semifinals here. They're the 3 seed. They open against Turlins. I would think they'll beat Lusher. Loyola Prep is the 2 seed. Again, they're farther up north, so I'm not as familiar with them. But that's who I would see them playing in the semis. So, and if I had to go with a pick, I'll do De La Salle. Let's do that. De La Salle over U-High. Division 3, we have 14 teams in this bracket. Dunham, super solid team, really, really good. They got that 1 seed for a reason. They automatically advanced to the quarters, as does Country Day, who was the 2 seed. Like both of these teams a lot. Dunham, I don't know if I think these two played in the Sugar Bowl tournament, and Dunham won pretty convincingly. So, they're both pretty much about the same. At that point, the Sugar Bowl tournament's in January, so most teams have kind of found themselves by that point. But I would still expect it to be a little bit closer. Dunham is going for back-to-back titles. Jordan Wright, probably the top uncommitted guy in the state right now. He had 2 huge shots, including the game winner last year against Episcopal. So they're most definitely the favorite in this bracket. Riverside's a kind of a dangerous team now. They're the number 4. They've been kind of rounded into form lately. DeJuan Dames is playing really well for them. He's a 2020 kid. And Gage Larverdane is again, another undersized kid, but this dude is a baller. I know he's had a back injury for like the last month or so that's kind of slowing him down. But early in the year they played right. He dropped 32. That game's on the YouTube channel. And he can ball. He can go. Newman is the 7. Country Day's the 2, as I said, and I can see, yeah, Country Day should get through this bracket fairly without much trouble. Episcopal will probably give him a run in that semifinal matchup. Division 4, Lafayette Christian is the 1 seed. We've got 21 teams in this bracket, 22 teams in this bracket, 23. Not a lot of local teams in this one. Not any local teams in this one. St. Martin's Episcopal is the 8. It's a Metairie school. But that is the only one. St. Martin's plays Ascension Catholic on the 26th. So they won't be starting for a while. And that's in Division 4. Lafayette Christian, I have seen them a couple times this year. Didn't necessarily blow me away, but they got a lot of really solid players. T.J. Jones is a senior point guard. Great passer. Like, pretty much every time I've seen him, he get like 10 assists. So, he's kind of the head of the snake for them. And they got like I said, they got probably 4 or 5 other really solid players. So, they're probably a favorite in that bracket. Division 5, we've got 12 teams in this one. Again, Division 5 and Division 4 need to be combined. Jehovah, because that would be a pretty good bracket. Jehovah Jireh, really good team. I actually haven't seen them this year somehow, but I know what they're capable of. And Crescent City is the 2. I think your 1 and 2 are definitely going to be your championship matchup. And it should be pretty good. I want to say these 2 teams played earlier this season. I'm going to have to go back and double check. I don't have a lot of time left. But yeah, I would go Jehovah Jireh probably over Crescent City. That's a rematch from last year. So I know they're going to have it on their mind. I would be remiss if I did not mention Byron Joshua. He has been cutting up all season. One of my favorite players to watch. I mean, just his change of direction, the control he has over the game. Really got the ball on a string, when he's dribbling. He usually does maybe 1 or 2 moves a game. And I'm like, ugh, that was nasty. He had 43 against Riverside the other day. That game's on the YouTube channel, the full game too. And he had 32 in another game I saw earlier this year against Carver. And usually whenever I see him, he's right around at least, 20, 18, 19 points. So I think Coach told me that he also had 40 against Reynolds. Reynolds, who's the 3 seed in this division. So there's that. So that'll pretty much wrap up your the playoffs, your little playoff preview of sorts. And a couple other things I want to get to super quick is just the Pelicans with AD and this whole situation, and then Antonio Brown. And I can't speak too much on it right now because, like I said, I need to go. I probably should not be here right now. But AD, sit down, bro. Sit down. Like, don't come back. You requested your trade. You don't want to be here. Now we don't want you here. Don't come back. Like, it doesn't make sense for you. It doesn't make sense for us. I hope we don't get another win this whole season and we get a much better draft pick. And I hope you go away. You stay healthy. Do whatever it is you need to do. Get ready for your trip to, I hope, Boston, because that's the package that we need to get with Jason Tatum. I don't know why this is so difficult for like the national media to get, but why would the Pelicans trade for a lesser trade package now? And they'll go, well, you have to avoid this whole circus. This is all their fault. Like, this is the only option. This is it. This is all you can do. You have to at least wait until the summer so you know what all your options are. The Lakers ain't going nowhere. Like, granted, things can happen between now and then. Same situation with Tatum. Like, he might go off in the finals, and they're just like, man, we just not trading him. And look, that is what it is. You just got to take that chance because you can't take the package that the Lakers have. Mind you, these guys, look, I like them. I like Kuzma. Ingram's pretty good. Like, Ball's all right. Like, it's fine. But, like, I don't see none of them cats making an all-star game. Like, maybe 1 or 2 down the line. But Jason Tatum got all NBA potential. And you got to get that type of player back if you can in a situation like this. So, again, this was the only logical move for them to do. And on top of that, you can see where everybody's draft picks are. and you can know exactly what you're getting. So that's the obvious, what should be obvious, but again, getting crushed by the media and this and that for not trading them. Like, that would have been silly. Thank you, Dell. Shout out to Dell. I think that tenure was not as bad as what it's made out to be. Um, a ton of injuries really just sapped this franchise from day one, and whether or not that's on them, because the training staff issues are kind of infamous at this point. So how much of that was their fault and how much of it was just bad luck is hard to say. I mean, Boogie Cousins, like, if Boogie doesn't get hurt, we're not even in this situation, because I think AD signs long term and then that's it. But again, injuries have just kind of crushed this franchise from damn near day one. But that's really, I'll leave that to the Steelers. The last thing was with Antonio Brown, bro. Like, do not come to New Orleans. Do not come here. I do not want anything to do with Antonio Brown. I get it. He is an amazing player. The numbers he's putting up are absurd. I know. I don't want anything to do with this dude, bro. Complete diva. Anybody that would just not show up during the last week of the season when your team can actually make the playoffs, it's not like they was out of it. Like, you just not gonna show up because you mad at the quarterback? Are you joking? Like, you an NFL player. How you just don't come to work and then just show up on game day like, yeah, I'm good, put me in? Like, nah, bro. Get out. Like, go away. I don't want to see you. Like, so I would get deeper into that if I had more time, but I don't. So I'm gonna wrap this up right about here. This is gonna be the first of maybe many. We'll just kind of see how these are received. But like I said, I gotta get out of here, so I'm gonna holler at y'all.